we've got a business plan commitment here now to roll out a programme of energy efficiency advice, biodiversity advice to our tenants. And I think you will be critical in delivering that. Part of the programme we're already talking about, toolbox training for our teams in here, so what they identify if there is issues of damp and mould, what a housing officer, what a property services officer can identify within a property. And in many cases, people could be going for something that is completely unrelated into a property, and it could be for a chat around a housing management issue. It could be for a completely different a maintenance issue. But with that bit of awareness, prevention is always better than cure, and our tenant or our staff could be forewarned is forearmed, and have that basic skill set to identify problems that may be occurring, and where we can early identify these problems. But where I'm excited is around bringing the tenants and community organisations on board with yourselves in terms of some advice and some training around what's the benefit to the tenant, and sometimes if there isn't an overt problem, they don't think there's a problem, but obviously air quality deteriorates over time, and these issues maybe are slow burning before they come to the fore. But the basic advice and the counterintuitive advice is that running these systems costs you a bit of money to run the system, but ultimately it saves you money in the long term, because it's easier to heat your home, and if you've got a dry home with no humidity in it. Yeah. So it's trying to get that there rolled out across our tenant base and all of the community organisations we work with, ultimately to try and in some small way combat a degree of fuel poverty too. Yeah.
So it is a scientific fact that heavy, colder, moisture-laden air is more expensive to heat than a drier, warmer air. And I look up some statistics on that, provide that at that time, and we can pass that across to them. There's also the benefit that you're giving to the staff and the employees internally here. I'm just thinking, because we're adding another string to their bow, and their surveying experience and knowledge and stuff. So we're benefiting the guys internally with that knowledge and pushing their careers on a little.
I think of it as an organisation, and obviously a lot of organisations think that way. You don't want to box your staff, your staff in. Don't want to make it depressing and things like that. But housing staff and housing association staff in general are in a perfect position to potentially address a whole host of issues. And it's not just about the fabric of the building, damp and mould, and things like that. We're engaged in a lot of community multi-agency meetings and things like that. A housing officer or a maintenance officer is probably the most frequent visitors to some of these properties, and there could be a myriad of issues that just from their own training, their own initiation, that they can spot issues. And we've had issues of domestic violence and other horrific things in the past. And you're right, this is just another tool for people to actually be able to help people, and ultimately help the organisation. If we can address an issue at an early stage in terms of damp and mould, that's going to save a fortune in the long term.